Assalamualaikum, my name is Nur Aslinda binti Cik Zamri and today I will be presenting a persuasive speech titled Foreign Species Local Disaster. So does anyone recognize this plant? I believe that some of you must have seen it in the lakes or river, right? This is Eichhornia crassipite, which is commonly known as water hyacinth. What if I told you that this pretty water plant with its contrasting flowers is actually one of the most dangerous invader in our ecosystem? So I first came across this plant a few years ago when I read an online article about how stagnant flood in Kelantan happened due to this plant block the gutter. That story actually stayed with me in ways that I did not expect. It sparked a genuine curiosity in me, and I start to search on invasive species and how they quickly damage our environment. This is not merely about some plant in our water bodies, but it is about us. This might seem like a distant problem, but their damage runs deep beneath the surface. They threaten the food we eat, the nature we enjoy, and the balance of ecosystem that support all of us. Invasive species threaten ecosystem worldwide, but by understanding their impact and implementing target solution, we can all contribute to preserving biodiversity. So in this speech, I will explain how our ecosystem was destroyed by this invasive species. Next, I will highlight several practical solutions in dealing with this issue. Lastly, I will show how we can be a part of the solutions. Let me start by explaining the extent of damage caused by this invasive species to our ecosystem. Invasive plants such as Eichhornia crassipes are depleting the dissolved oxygen level in water bodies, thereby inhibiting fish reproduction. This plant rapidly spread on the water bodies, creating a thick mat covering it, which impede with the balance of the aquatic ecosystem. Moreover, it also boasted an astounding growth rate up to 201% in 7 days under favorable conditions. As the plant rapidly filled up the surface of the water bodies, it blocked the sunlight and limit the oxygen exchange. As the water hyacinths depleted the level of dissolved oxygen in the water bodies, this can threaten aquatic creatures such as fish, crustaceans, and mollusc population and inhibited their reproduction. Additionally, the plankton population, which is one of the main food sources for aquatic creatures, also is being compromised. For instance, serious infestation of Eichhornia crassipes in Tanjung Tualang has negatively affected the local fishermen economy, as they has reported lower catches due to decline of fish population. Another problem that is commonly associated with invasive species is they also lower the crops yield. The infestation of invasive species such as the golden apple snail has caused astronomical loss around 82 million in Malaysia paddy industry. The golden apple snail was initially introduced to Asia as ornamental animals and a source of food. However, its escape and unintentional release has brought devastating damage on ecology and agriculture activities. These snails feed voraciously on paddy seedling, young stem and leaf, causing irreversible damage to the young plant. Moreover, its high habitability rate of 80%, short incubation period around 10 to 15 days, and high reproductive rate has made this snail species as one of the worst invasive species globally. So, in 2022, around 2,386 hectares of paddy field in Malaysia was destroyed due to golden apple snail attack, causing significant economic loss to paddy farmers. Aside from that, public misconception on invasive species which overshadow the negative impact to the ecosystem also is a problem. Many people actually perceive invasive species as economically beneficial without fully understanding their impact on the environment. This negligence has caused some of the invasive species to be introduced to our local environment. As they were introduced into non-native environment, they usually missing the natural predator that keep them checked. This lack of natural control eventually allowed them to thrive unchecked. They may disrupt the local ecosystem, competing for resources in the new habitat and treating the local species to decline or even worse, to extinction. Recently, around 2 tons of African catfish has been released to Tasik Maps by the organizer of a fishing competition despite being an invasive species. Their aggressive behavior and sturdy body has become a serious threat to the indigenous species of this country. Additionally, the burrowing habit also may erode the riverbank. Now that we can see the clear picture of the threats of invasive species, so let us explore the solutions that can help us in mitigating their impact. The government is the key in preventing uncontrollable spread in invasive species in our local ecosystem. First, the government can implement stricter enforcement on biosecurity to ensure that there are no high-risk plant and animals can be imported. Regulation and enforcement is a crucial step in ensuring invasive species at the plant or animal can be introduced into our local ecosystem. This helps the spread of species that could interrupt the ecosystem balance, treating our indigenous species. Thus, the government can implement a stricter inspection at the point of entry to these countries such as the airport, border and seaport. Individual that violate the regulation will be compounded and can be imprisoned or face legal proceeding. Another solution that can be implemented by the government is by launching a national awareness campaign on the danger of invasive species and their impact to our local ecosystem. This program can increase Malaysian knowledge and awareness on invasive species and encourage positive behavior among them. This can help to reduce the case of human-caused introduction of native species. The government can collaborate with environmental NGO to launch educational campaign across platforms such as social media, television and radio. Additionally, they also can launch public outreach program that involves educational institutions and local communities. To ensure these solutions can be implemented effectively, the government shall use the two-pronged approach. First, the government shall roll and tight biosecurity measure through regulation enforcement, where strict inspection will be conducted at all entry points. Meanwhile, the second step will encompass the launch of a national-scale awareness program on invasive species that utilize various channels to ensure broader audience reach. The program will include the step to report to the environmental agency if they spot invasive species. Through implementation of this solution, we can ensure that incidents related to invasive species can be curbed. Next, let us explore the benefit from this action. By addressing the issue related to invasive species, there are various ecological benefits that can be expected. When the invasive species issue under control, we can see significant improvement on water quality, including its level of dissolved oxygen. The improved aquatic environment will help the native fish population to recover, restoring the natural food chain and balance the biodiversity. Similarly, when the issue with invasive species is addressed, the economic issue faced by farmers will be alleviated. This will reduce their loss while improving the food security. Furthermore, by enhancing Malaysian knowledge on invasive species also can help to foster a society that values sustainability and conservation. In the long run, this will encourage environmental protection and preserve a sustainable ecosystem for the future generation. If we neglect the invasive species issue, the local ecosystem will deteriorate, driving a local species to extinction. The biodiversity loss also will impact the local communities due to prolonged environmental and economic damage. As we have explored the negative impact of invasive species, it is how clear that they may seem harmless at first glance, but their impact on Malaysia's environment, agriculture and biodiversity is real. Thus, we can no longer afford to turn a blind eye to this growing issue. I also have discussed the actions to address this problem and how the government and us can play our roles to fight it. We don't have to be a scientist or a politician in order to make a difference. As a member of the community, each of us hold our own power to protect our biodiversity and make a change to protect our environment. Each of us must take an active role in it. It is not necessarily involve drastic action that we can start small by just starting to learn more and report any presence of invasive species around us. This can bring a powerful impact to our ecosystem. Invasive species will not wait for us and neither shall we. The time to act is not tomorrow but now. Thank you.